concerned. We don't advise people as far as individual stock picks are concerned, but which sectors do you think will be in play as a consequence of this kind of expectation as far as the politics is concerned?
The sector may not change from last 5 years, technically the railways, infrastructures, but yes, not at these. One should wait and have a cautious approach. There will be a lot of opportunities in the Indian market. We are not straight line towards the 24,000 or 25,000 Nifty. There will be some kind of repeat because of the global events. That will give us a lot of opportunities to again get into the same sectors like infrastructure, railway and defense.
Prashant, just one more point, and Pooja, then
yes,
we can perhaps take a broader point. As far as the fear of missing out is concerned, a lot of retail investors sometimes look at rising stocks and they feel that they are missing out and then burn their hands. Is FOMO a factor that retail investors should keep in mind today?
I think no, FOMO should not be a factor to be considered because last 7-8 days market was volatile. They were really happy with the volatility, but yes, today was the only day, tomorrow maybe the second only day. The FOMO factor come into the investor mind. But there will be a lot of opportunities. Same stocks will be available, lower levels, better valuation. So wait and watch and get into right stock at the right time.
Prashant, also tell us how the market volatility has been throughout the election season. What have you observed and how do you think that's different in the manner in which market has opened now?
So historically, if you see every year elections, high volatility in the market, but yes, this was very much crucial because the government is continuing for the third term, which is some kind of history in the market. But yes, the turn of the investors were higher in terms of face-to-face elections. And I think after phase 5 elections, the market got confident with respect to 65-66% of the turnout, which was a comfortable level for Indian market as well as the government to continue. So I think the election had a very serious issue with respect to Indian VIX rising double from 10 points to almost 22-24 points. So I think that was a very crucial level. But I think next 2 days we will continue to have a higher VIX. But again, post that we will be normalized.
Pooja, I think one of the key points that we also need to keep in mind is that while there is an initial sense of euphoria in the markets and some people might choose to book their profits and then get back into the markets, what are the broader Modi 3.0 policy expectations? What is the Modi government likely to do? Because fundamentals matter at the end of the day. You can't just be up in the air. Infrastructure spending.
Correct.
We already saw the interim budget outline its priorities. Market experts and other participants feel that infrastructure spending will double over the medium to long term, which is 3 to 5 years. Discretionary spending, which is the money that is available with people to spend and consume, is obviously also going to go up. Per capita income is expected to rise as far as this country is concerned. And corporate earnings also in the range of 12 to 14%, although the most recent quarter has shown that there is some pressure on that account. So if we were to then try and come back into the sectors that are likely to see sustained interest for investors, defense, you know how the defense play has been, the Modi government's efforts at indigenization, and we have seen our domestic defense companies, many of them of great interest to investors. They are doing well.
And so many deals that have come to fruition when it comes to defense sector.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, no one's saying that 100% indigenization is going to happen, including for high-end complex weapon platforms. We still are reliant on technology, and there are, technology transfer issues that are concerned. So, 10 years, a lot of painstaking progress. It could have been faster, but defense production, one key area. Look at the banking space, particularly the public sector banks. 2014 onwards, we saw for a few years the kind of pain that our public sector banks went through on account of the non-performing asset problem. Now, that is behind us. The most recent quarter has seen phenomenal performance from public sector banks. Banking space, perhaps that I have not seen in my reporting career. Look at some of the stocks that are part of the railway pack. Because the railways has turned around, and while there is a flip side of it where people say, oh, it's more expensive to travel by train. But look at the overall fundamental turnaround in the finances of the railways and how it's gone about trying to become a more customer-friendly organization. A lot of work and ground to be covered there, but lots of things that have happened which seem to suggest that as far as the broader markets are concerned, Pooja, they are perhaps the happiest with a Modi 3.0.
Clearly, we can see from the market and the volatility that we have seen throughout the election season. Before I toss across to what Prime Minister Modi also had said recently, Siddharth, do you think election season, not just of India, but the fact that we have become in the big 5 economies of the world, all of that has happened in the past few years, that is what shows also in the market as it opens with the projections?
Absolutely. A smaller thing, India bringing back 100 tons of gold and many more tons of that gold which is stored overseas coming back to places like Nagpur, for example, where a lot of our gold reserves are stored. All of these, when they add up, S&P revising its outlook and being positive on the Indian economy, all of these things fit into the fact that India is now a country and an economy which is seen with great serious interest. But there's a lot of work to be done. The China +1, China +2 strategy has seen, for example, Elon Musk. He was supposed to come to India. He went somewhere else. Will he come again? These are big questions because we wanted that technology to come in as a demonstration.
But that image surge has definitely impacted.
But it has definitely helped, and things like the semiconductor initiative,
Correct,
which is a multi-billion-dollar business, all of that will grow and kind of give hope and satisfaction to investors that India can now also become a manufacturing economy. There have been lots of good developments there, and given the size of the domestic market that we have, not just exports, foreign investors find investing in India much more easier than they would in the past.
I would say even renewable energy, the manner in which that in itself became a huge sector with India focusing. So that we have to listen into what Prime Minister Modi had recently said. Remember how he had predicted a massive surge in economy in his, as is projected, the third term. Let's listen into that.
$1 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था बनने में लगभग 60 साल लगे थे। 60 साल। 2014 में जब देश ने हमें अवसर दिया तो 2 ट्रिलियन मार्क भी बहुत बड़ा लग रहा था, लेकिन 10 वर्षों में हमने अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था में $2 ट्रिलियन और जोड़ दिया। एक के लिए 60 साल, 10 साल में 2 और जोड़ दिया।
Perhaps this focus, this vision is what has impacted the market as well, Siddharth, isn't it? Because when even at the India Today conclave, Prime Minister Modi had said that there's this constant vision, a confidence that has come in. Do tell us how vision. Many would say this is political, in a political showdown, that this would be a rhetoric. But do you think when the Prime Minister talks about a promising emerging economy from what it was in the top 10 to become top 5, possibly top 3, how does that impact the markets when we see after the exit poll projections?
The markets always provide us hard evidence of, and nobody just throws around his money when it comes to investing. Take a look at the BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange, PSU index. It was up 4.5%. Now, when was the last time where PSUs were seen as a very good companies from an investor return point of view? In fact, over the last 25 years, one of the key things, broader policy agendas across governments has been PSU divestment. More of that is expected, including perhaps IDBI Bank, for example. The big Air India disinvestment is behind us. But there's a sense of the fact that even as the government in certain sectors has become more powerful and, the government is not withdrawing from business in certain sectors, the PSU index from an investor point of view is also a big bet. And as far as overall economic growth is concerned, Pooja, let's face it. The fact that 250 million or more people in India need subsidy support, need welfare support, and they have to be helped for multiple years.
I want to now go across on the ground. At the Dalal Street in Mumbai, Dev Kotak is joining me. Dev, as the markets open, good morning. What is it looking like? What are the figures that you have? And explain to someone who may not be investing in the market to understand why this impact, how is it being seen on the ground? Go ahead.
Well, yes, firstly, to point it out for our viewers that BJP and NDA alliance-led parties are generally perceived as pro-business and pro-investment. So that is, in a certain sense, that the investors, the people involved in trading and in stock markets, including the bigger trading organizations, are also believing in the government, and they have been in anticipation of the BJP winning, comfortably crossing the 360 plus mark in the previous elections, along with the NDA alliance partners. 353 is what they had achieved in 2019. So today definitely has started off extremely strong. In fact, about 15 minutes ago, when the market had opened up, around that time it had reached 3.55%. So you can really understand in a certain sense that it is also going to sort of achieve a market record or a market high. The bulls are going to have a field day. Around lunchtime, they're also going to be discussing in terms of the stocks that they should buy before the end of day. And also tomorrow is a very, very big day where they're expecting the BJP to win by a thumping majority. So the bulls have been in anticipation of them winning.
Like there is anticipation and there is caution as well. Dave, thank you for telling us what's happening on the ground, and we'll continue to track the markets. A quick closing comment from you, Siddharth. At this point, do you think if there's a historic third term, there could be a historic market updates also coming in that we see?
Absolutely. The theme, I think, will be Atmanirbhar stock markets, and that spark already being seen in trade today, and very clearly the sectors that are in focus. Infrastructure sector, Pooja, we spoke about. Cement, for example, private banks, NBFCs, select industrials, chemicals including. And one of the comments was that I am reading is the Adani stock pack, and very clearly that also getting a lot of attention given the kind of pain that pack had to go through. But very clearly with this kind of rise, you will see the broader markets going up, and perhaps ab ki baar 24,000 par on the Nifty may not happen today, tomorrow. But this is going to be a very interesting time for the markets, especially up till the first full budget is presented by the incoming government. Pooja.
Very interesting. As we say, all is well that ends well, but there's still 24 hours to go. There is definitely a sort of caution here involved. But thank you, Siddharth. As always, lovely to have you in our studio with your expert perspective. Remember, markets and politics are not exclusive. They are dependent in many ways on each other, and that's how we are witnessing what's unfolding this morning. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Siddharth, that's the update coming in, and I'd like you to tell us more about that with the exit poll numbers that clearly are cracking up the market as well. The Sensex has touched, and this is the latest that we are bringing, crossing 75,000 as a mark, up by 1,981. So clearly there's a lot of surge that we are witnessing in the bonds, in rupee. Tell us more about what does this precisely mean when we say Sensex crosses 75,000 mark?
You know, the Sensex and Nifty had opened at a fresh all-time high, and the markets have been touching all-time highs. They went down. Directionally, the markets are headed upwards, and I recall what one market participant told us yesterday, Arun Kejriwal and Feroz Aziz, among others who were on Business Today yesterday. They said that the Nifty can double in 5 years. So very clearly, if you take a look at the market and if you see market internals, including some of the stocks that are reacting positively, power stocks, for example, Pooja, are doing extremely well. And I'm reminded of what happened in 2012, which was the worst ever power outage that we saw. Look at this summer, Pooja, and this is, you know, in some ways a salam to the entire power production, distribution, establishment of India across the central entities, power grid, including state corporation. This has been one of the hottest summers, but we haven't heard about power outages, and power demand has been at an all-time high, and we have been able to deliver there, including for coal supply. So a lot of things that are happening for the good in the country, also reflecting in stock prices. I just gave you one example of the power sector. The Nifty PSU bank sector right now are doing very well. The IT sector, not that much because it has external linkages. It is dependent. IT companies are dependent on business for overall with the overseas markets. But very clearly,
Siddharth,
the Tata, Ambani, Adani pack also.
Yes.
The Adani pack, all the Adani stocks have reversed most of the losses that they suffered after the Hindenburg hit. So lots of dynamic things happening, Pooja, but directionally the markets are up.
Siddharth, a friend watching our telecast has asked me to ask you, because this is the exit poll reference outcome. 24 hours later, there will be, of course, the real numbers to announce. Do you think if it's on the same line, expected as our exit polls have had a strike #1 rate, that it could respond in a better manner? What if there's a fluctuation in the real numbers?
When in 2004, shock loss of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and the comments by the communist constituents of the UPA came in, and they said, and if I recall correctly, that they didn't care about the markets, that sent the markets into a tailspin. They said no disinvestment. But over 10 years, with a minority government, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh led a government for 10 years. Very clearly for the markets, a win is what matters. The margin, the extent of the win, will it be 300 par, 400 par, will just be icing on the cake. But policy stability, continuity, and the same set of, largely the same set of administrators that we perhaps can foresee coming back into power, and the Prime Minister himself. And I am repeatedly reminded, and you touched upon that, Pooja, of what the Prime Minister said at the India Today conclave, and that was a fantastic speech. Including viewers, I would request you to go to all the social platforms of the India Today group, where that bite will be available, where he spoke about aane wale 5 saal mein.
And we'll soon play it.
That would be great, because he spoke about every single sector.
In fact, I have an update from my team that as you spoke, our team has been fast and ready as always. We have what Prime Minister Modi had said at the conclave. Let's listen into that.
आने वाले 5 साल इस अनसर्टेन वर्ल्ड के लिए एक स्थिर, समर्थ और सशक्त भारत की गारंटी के होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल भारत के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को एक नई ऊंचाई देने वाले होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल भारतीय रेल के कायाकल्प के होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल बुलेट ट्रेन से लेकर वंदे भारत ट्रेन के विस्तार के होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल वाटरवे के अभूतपूर्व इस्तेमाल के होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप भारत के डिफेंस एक्सपोर्ट को नया रिकॉर्ड बनाते देंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप भारत के स्पेस सेक्टर की एक नई उड़ान देखेंगे, गगनयान की सफलता देखेंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप देश के युवाओं के लिए नए सेक्टर्स का उदय देखेंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप भारत की सोलर पावर को घर घर तक पहुंचता देखेंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप भारत में ईवी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में रिकॉर्ड वृद्धि देखेंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप सेमीकंडक्टर मिशन, हाइड्रोजन मिशन को जमीन पर बढ़ावा देखेंगे। और आने वाले 5 साल में आप निर्णायक नीतियां बनते, निर्णायक फैसले होते हुए भी देखेंगे।
Siddharth, Prime Minister Modi spoke like a bullet train there, and clearly one by one the issues that he mentioned, but very significant, because most of these issues or most of these sectors were not really prime focus for India, so to say. Why do you think what he mentioned was deliberate? There was a messaging here, and how that impacts the market that we see this morning with the exit poll saying same government coming in, returning with a margin.
Pooja, that was at the India Today conclave, one of the most emphatic speeches. During the campaign, we've also heard from both the Prime Minister and Home Minister Amit Shah about, investing in the markets. Unusual to some extent, but it's a comment that was noticed quite a bit. Look at what the Prime Minister has said in an article which has now been released to everyone. During that article, he's spoken about Digital India, he's spoken about Viksit Bharat, he's spoken about reforms. The point to note here is the continuity that it represents for those who are investors and those who are not. There's a large section of India, people who are just coming into the workforce or those who have not gotten yet into the workforce informally or formally. There is aspirational India. And for that aspirational India, they want to hear a vision where they feel that eventually with hard work, they will perhaps also join the Vikas Yatra.
I think that is the point that you've made. India always has had an aspirational attitude, and if the merit gets that opportunity, if there's a continuity, that is perhaps reflective in one of the reasons people investing their hard-earned money in the markets, and they'd like to see that stability that continues or coming back this time.
All right, we'll kickstart this edition with some news just coming in. It's a big rally in the markets. Adani Group in the green. All Adani stocks surge. Adani Group market cap crosses pre-Hindenburg level. Multiple Adani stocks trading with a 10% plus surge is what we know. Abhay Agarwal, founder and fund manager, Piper Sadaka, is now joining us. Thank you for your time here in the studios with us. My colleague Siddharth Zarabi is the managing editor of Business Today Television. Thank you both for joining us this morning. Siddharth, I want to begin by asking you, the markets are obviously cheering, and this big rally in markets, including the Adani Group in green, was but predicted, isn't it?
Absolutely, and what we are seeing happen right after the exit polls, and this could be called the exit poll effect, and if they pan out, Tuesday is perhaps going to be even more interesting. But what's happening? The volatility that we saw in the month of May in the markets is now behind us. The volatility index now turning differently. The Sensex hit an all-time high. The Nifty hit an all-time high. Bank Nifty crossed 50,000. It's doubled in 6 years. Mid-cap stocks at an all-time high. PSU stocks performing very well. And like you said, Adani stocks also now back at the pre-Hindenburg level, and this is a very rare moment in the markets. Fundamentals, technicals and sentiment all turning positive, favorable at the same time.
We'll also in fact give our viewers a sense of what was in fact said, since we're talking about the exit polls and the direct relationship with the markets cheering here. Congress's Wayanad and Raebareli candidate Rahul Gandhi, in fact, has dismissed these exit polls, talking about the fact that these are media polls. Modi polls is what he called it. He said it is Modi's fantasy. Let's take a listen.
इसका नाम एग्जिट पोल नहीं है, इसका नाम मोदी मीडिया पोल है। ये मोदी जी का पोल है, फैंटेसी पोल है उनका।
सर कितनी सीटें आ रही हैं आपके हिसाब से?
सिद्धू मूसेवाला का सॉन्ग सुना आपने? 295, 295।
All right, we'll kickstart this edition with some news just coming in. It's a big rally in the markets. Adani Group in the green. All Adani stocks surge. Adani Group market cap crosses pre-Hindenburg level. Multiple Adani stocks trading with a 10% plus surge is what we know. Abhay Agarwal, founder and fund manager, Piper Sadaka, is now joining us. Thank you for your time here in the studios with us. My colleague Siddharth Zarabi is the managing editor of Business Today Television. Thank you both for joining us this morning. Siddharth, I want to begin by asking you, the markets are obviously cheering, and this big rally in markets, including the Adani Group in green, was but predicted, isn't it?
Absolutely, and what we are seeing happen right after the exit polls, and this could be called the exit poll effect, and if they pan out, Tuesday is perhaps going to be even more interesting. But what's happening? The volatility that we saw in the month of May in the markets is now behind us. The volatility index now turning differently. The Sensex hit an all-time high. The Nifty hit an all-time high. Bank Nifty crossed 50,000. It's doubled in 6 years. Mid-cap stocks at an all-time high. PSU stocks performing very well. And like you said, Adani stocks also now back at the pre-Hindenburg level, and this is a very rare moment in the markets. Fundamentals, technicals and sentiment all turning positive, favorable at the same time. Abhay, what's happening in the markets, and is this a euphoria where we saw the markets open gap up and now some amount of profit booking as well?
Yeah, good morning, Siddharth. Thanks for having me on the show. We have been telling our investors for a while now that the election outcome is but a pit stop in India's economic growth story. So they need to look beyond election results. But obviously, when a big event like this comes up, there is some nervousness even with long-term investors. So what we saw, Siddharth, happen over the last month or so is that some of the large investors in India increase their cash allocations, waiting for the results to be out. And we also saw a very large foreign investor build up in short positions through futures to protect their cash market long positions. Now, I think the exit polls have been better than everybody's expectations in the sense that there is clarity and unanimity across all polls that the incumbent government is going to come back. And I think that is driving today's rally. I would see today's rally more as a catch-up rally, Siddharth. Though we are up about 2.5-3%, but it's still not euphoric. I don't call it euphoria zone at all. I think it's more of a catch-up where shorts are getting covered, and some of the investors who were under allocated running in to deploy their cash. I think we are far away from a euphoria zone. Profit taking will kick in, but I think these levels will sustain, and at least for a week or so till people recalibrate their positions and then start looking beyond at what the budget will be and what government's economic policy direction will be. So I expect the markets to hold.
Abhay, you are sort of raising expectations even further by saying that we are still not in euphoric zone, and when you are in euphoria, caution is always warranted. But just one quick point. Who is buying at this point of time? Because we've seen this play between the way foreign investors were cautious and domestic investors, including retail and high net worth individuals, doubling down on Modi guarantee.
I think, Siddharth, to answer your question, everybody is buying right now. I don't see anybody selling. And that's one of the reasons of, for the spike in the market, that people who had full faith were fully invested. They don't want to sell right now. As I said, there will be profit taking, but I don't think this is the time that profit taking will kick in only with a 3% increase in Nifty levels. You look at it, Hang Seng is up almost 3% today. Nobody really cares. So if Nifty is up 3% today after such a big outcome, I don't think anybody is starting to book profits unless they are traders. So who's buying? The retail investors are buying. The HNIs are buying. The mutual funds who were sitting on cash, they are buying. FPI is definitely buying. So when you have sustained buying from all these 4 quarters, that's what is driving my faith that the markets will not only hold, but will progress further on from here. I think a very strong base at around 22,500 levels, which should hold with better monsoons on the horizon, probability of interest rate cuts, good economic growth numbers, GST collections, every which way you look at it, no fiscal pressure on the government. So that is what is driving my faith that the Nifty earnings numbers will get re-rated upwards.
Siddharth, I also want to ask you, what really drives this? Is this the sense of continuity in governance that puts the kind of faith?
Absolutely. No negative surprises.
Yes.
Prime Minister Modi's approach towards the economy and the markets, and some bits of that being highlighted in an article today also, which is now being made public.
Yes.
It's very clear that the markets love continuity. They don't want any negative surprise.
No changes.
So what will happen? Infrastructure spending will continue. The welfare support will continue. There will, obviously, the BJP manifesto did not promise any giveaways, so that will continue. Things like the return to the old pension scheme. Remember, at the state election, that was a big issue. Himachal, we saw that happen. That will not happen. We've seen what is happening as far as Karnataka is concerned, and the metro project there, putting pressure, the free rides for women. All of that put pressure and create uncertainty, and investors don't like that. And remember, the Indian market is fundamentally different from what it was when the 2014 election results came, even the 2019 results. There are millions of retail investors in the market. They are smaller, but they are driven by sentiment. And in some ways, the Atmanirbhar stock market story, and I've been saying this for the last 2 days, I think that is the key play here. People are betting on the future, on an aspirational India, and when they do that, Abhay knows this, caution is always certainly warranted.
That's right. Essentially, and expect this to continue, this cheer to continue at least for a couple of days?
Absolutely. Yes. Cautious optimism would perhaps be the best way to describe the current situation.
Right. In fact, cautious optimism, and I'm looking at Twitter and it's going crazy over the markets. It's full of memes talking about how this was but expected, isn't it, Siddharth?
Absolutely. And what will, if we were to go into some of the deeper elements. Abhay, if we still have Abhay with us, just yes. A quick question. Abhay, is this sort of rally going to extend beyond the modified stocks, so to say, the PSU bank counter, the defense counter, the infrastructure space? Any thoughts on what sectors will be in favor with investors?
No, I think that's a very good point, Siddharth, because we internally for our fund with our research team, we keep discussing that look, where is leadership going to come for the next leg of rally? And we see leadership changes take place. I think what we are looking at are some core sectors like cement, which hasn't performed for a very long period of time. But recently there was a government statement that the capex will be further increased. The government capex will be further increased by 10%. Plus private capex kicking in, I think will augur very well for cement industry, because it's a highly consolidated industry. Secondly, we are looking at non-ferrous metals. I think there is a global rally that is starting to play out. So I think that is another sector with large cap stocks that we think will pick up, from here on. FMCG stocks haven't really done anything, but with rural income picking up, I think that is another sector that will start to take lead. So I think some of these sectors which have gone through sideways time correction, very good companies, investors will start looking to value buy in them, and I think these are the sectors that will start taking the lead from here on. So that's our bet at the fund level.
Fair point, Abhay, and thank you very much for your time with us. One quick point, the PSU shares have jumped to fresh highs, and this is, directly connected with the government's policy priorities that we have been seeing. Power sector stocks, we are looking at PSU bank stocks, and in fact PSU bank stocks have raced ahead of their private bank counterparts. So all in all, it's telling us that as far as the markets are concerned, those stocks that are heavily influenced by the central government's expenditure and its economic agenda have risen sharply and will perhaps continue to do so if the exit poll results were to hold true come Tuesday.
So that's the final words as far as the impact on the prices of gold and the rupee here is concerned.
So very clearly, that's a very good point, that what happens beyond stocks. There are lots of people, and India is still a fixed deposit economy in some ways, who do not invest in stocks either directly or through mutual fund. What's happening? Other asset classes will also, in my view, sort of benefit from this sense of optimism that we are seeing. In fact, when the rupee opened early today for trade, it opened 55 paisa up. So very clearly, and gold has been on sort of a upward curve for quite some time, and that will continue because gold reacted differently overseas because of being a safe haven as far as investment is concerned. But all classes of investment, and including, I would make the argument that once the results are in, you will see some sort of rub-off as far as the real estate sector is also concerned. Look at how housing prices have performed post-COVID, including what is called the luxury segment, larger houses, people upgrading their houses just as you upgrade your car, and prices going into stratospheric levels. Look at Noida, for example, as a micro real estate market. We've seen it go way beyond most expectations. So this sense of cheer in the markets will also spread, because when people book profits in the stock market, they end up investing somewhere, utilizing that money, discretionary spend. So it's a good sense, a good time for the markets. And remember, beyond whatever little happens between now or the next week or so, the next major key event for the markets will be 7th June, when the RBI will release the latest monetary policy decision. Expect a standstill continuing, and then afterwards the big policy statement in July, which will be the first formal budget of the incoming government.
All right, that's great. Siddharth, thanking you for putting that into perspective.
24 hours to go for the election results. But if you thought that exit polls are simply projections, stock market looks set for a rally after those numbers, and that have given primarily NDA a landslide. So the exit poll projections will and could it impact the market, which is set to open in just the next few minutes. Exit polls predictions resulted, and we'll give you a brief first on what the findings have been. According to Axis My India, India Today exit polls, the NDA seat win margin is going to be between 350-400 range. Is there going to be a favourable market reaction then? And we'll know it in just the next few minutes. However, the stock market of the last 6 weeks throughout the election season trimmed expectations on BJP or NDA seat counts, a lower turnout in the first few phases, specifically in the heartland with regard to the election season. So throughout the election season of these 2 months, there has been an impact on the market as well. The exit poll results are crucial for a 10 trillion economy target as well. A slew of fresh reforms in first 125 days expected. Stability and economic policies will be the focus as well. Remember, this is all with regard to including the surge in foreign direct investments. So let me immediately take the first question to Siddharth Zarabi. He's the managing editor of Business Today Television. Siddharth, first, a very simple issue here. Why would an exit poll projection and how does it impact the stock market when it's open to?
That's a very good point, Pooja. Very clearly, continuity in policy, stable single-party-led alliance, no major shocks, no giveaways, no takatak kind of things that will upset the fiscal balance. And that is in part contributing to the sense of euphoria that we are seeing.
Okay.
I just want to quickly rattle off some breaking news updates. Markets are in pre-open at this stage, and the Nifty already up around 790 points. The Sensex up about by 2,000 points, and the rupee trade has opened, and that the rupee is up 55 paisa. So please take that into note. The Sensex is up, the Nifty is up. Actual trade opens. This is pre-open in just a few minutes from now, 10 to 12 minutes from now. But the rupee is already reacting to the exit polls. And let me also add a couple of other data points. Friday, we saw the release of GDP data, and you saw massive growth numbers feeding into this euphoria in the market. So very clearly a mix of feel-good factors as far as the markets are concerned, Pooja.
Can you tell us about the significant specific issues here? Which areas, which sectors do you think usually get impacted? And when you say Sensex is up 2,000 points, and we are told that Nifty is also likely to ascend even more, are there specific sectors that face an impact of this, Siddharth?
Well, very clearly this is going to be a broad rally. What does this mean? It means that all stocks will see a surge of investor interest, of buying interest. And one key thing that we have to keep in mind is that we are also seeing these numbers as the Sensex and the Nifty surges. We are seeing the rise of an Atmanirbhar stock market versus the foreign market. And just one bit of data for our viewers. Close to 18% or thereabouts of the Indian stock market is FII investment, that is foreign institutional investors. The Indian markets now have more than 80% domestic institutions, which are large institutions, funds, and retail investors, of which we have seen millions get into the market over the past 3 to 4 years. These foreign investors over the past month and a half had sold down their interest in the market to some extent, and they were short on the Indian market. In very simple terms, they were concerned about the likelihood of political uncertainty, of perhaps a Modi 3.0 not happening, and now they will, within minutes from now, be forced to cover their short positions. So by all account, and since yesterday we've been speaking to multiple market experts, Pooja, everyone's saying that the markets will open gap up. In simpler terms, we can expect at least a 2 to 3% rise in the two benchmark indices, which is the Sensex and the Nifty, Pooja.
Can we say that the positive accent has a lot to do with perhaps the stability that is likely to be seen? As per the exit poll projections that we see, that if it's the return of the ruling party of the government, and then we have already a vision document that the ruling party appears to have said, all of this impacts in the positive update as well coming in from the market?
Well, very clearly, Pooja, we have to take into account what has the BJP, the NDA promised in this manifesto,
Correct.
the election manifesto.
Correct.
And remember, there was this commentary that perhaps more of the Congress manifesto was spoken about rather than the BJP manifesto. But leave that aside. Is there going to be a reset, a negative surprise as far as the broad direction of our economic policies is concerned? No. The Prime Minister has already been chairing meetings, and we are told that among the key decisions that is likely to be taken if the Modi government were to come back, that's what the exit polls suggest, will be, for example, a decision on the minimum support price for Kharif crops. So it's continuity. There will be no negative surprises. And that is what the markets are looking towards, that as far as this government is concerned, it will continue to remain steadfast on the path of infrastructure development, on the railway expansion program, many more Vande Bharat trains, the airport expansion program, the fact that you will see continuing welfare spending as has already been done, including that very, very large free food or 5 kilograms of food program. So markets do not like negative disruptions, and that is what they're perhaps...
So it's the continuity that will bring in the stability, so to say, specifically when it comes to economic policies. The update coming in, remember, in just a short while we'll have, and Siddharth will confirm that for us when the markets open, but the early trade showing right now, Sensex up 2,000 points after the exit poll results.
2,596
already?
Because it changes so fast.
As
the
we
Sensex
speak.
is
So
up
see?
close to 2,596, Pooja, and the Nifty up at 807. And you know, yesterday on Sunday during some special programming, the markets are not open over the weekend.
Yes.
We discussed this, and I'm going to say this, that what the markets are discussing is not just ab ki bar 400 par, but they are discussing the possibility of ab ki bar Nifty 24,000 par.
Wow. And do you think that can also come in? That is very likely a possibility.
You know, we don't bet, we don't offer advice, we don't tell you what to buy, but we can certainly reflect on what is happening in the market.
There the numbers are coming in, and the pre-open trade already consistently witnessing an increase. As we speak, the changes are happening. But also here the stock futures are jumping.
Well, you know, that absolutely. See, the Sensex is up 3.5% in pre-open.
Yes.
The Nifty is up 3.5%. And I am reminded of multiple market experts who appeared through the day on Business Today, as well as India Today yesterday evening, and they said 2 to 3%. I'm already seeing signs of that euphoria, in fact, being far higher. And this will be a broad-based rally where most of the market participants will, in some ways, be trying to stampede into the market, gain a fresh entry, because there is fear of missing out. But at this point of time, please remember that a sense of caution must always prevail. FIIs which have sold out of the market, they will perhaps have to reverse positions to the extent of roughly 24,000 crore rupees. So, you know, it's not just fundamentals, but certain market strategies that will be at place. So a sense of caution is always warranted at this time. And we must repeat for our viewers, Pooja, that the India Today Access My India poll, one of the most credible polls,
always, yes,
has given us this sense. And more importantly for the markets, every other poll is directionally in one direction, and that gives a sense of comfort to our markets, Pooja.
So that the kind of economic reforms perhaps expected now, and the stability that comes in with the regular government as of now, as projected from the exit polls, is that one of the reasons that we are looking at the latest updates? Siddharth, can you just tell us what is the latest Nifty? Because it looks like it's again a positive acceleration that I can see from the latest numbers. And this is not when the markets have officially opened right now. It's still a pre-trade.
So pre-open, I think we are counting down another 3-4 minutes, and we should try and bring up those live numbers when we get after open. But the Nifty still up 3.5%. The Sensex up 3.5%. In absolute terms, 2,622 points up as far as the Sensex is concerned. The Nifty 50 up 807.2 points. And once the markets open, we'll try and take a look at which are the companies, which are the sectors. And just to spend a few minutes, and this is from the multiple conversations that we had through yesterday. There's a term in the stock markets, and they are called modified stocks, where the first four alphabets are Modi in inverted commas in that sense. Now, what are these stocks? These are the stocks where a lot of the government spending priorities over the past 10 years, especially in the post-COVID phase as well. So infrastructure, for example, all those companies that are building India's infrastructure, those companies who get the contracts from the NHAI, for example, for building roads, flyovers, those who are adding to the more platforms at railway stations, those who are constructing some of the newer hospitals, including the AIIMS, those who will do the expansion programs for our airports, multiple capacities that are being added, the metro program, all of those companies have seen sustained interest, and I imagine they will be the...
And infrastructure and development was the focus of the government as well. We've seen a lot of development infrastructure work with the highways and more. I request you to stay on with Siddharth with me, because I do have a question. But coming in and joining us is also Prashant Tapse. He's a research analyst. He's the Senior VP of Mehta Equities Limited. Prashant, do you think it is the continuity that we are talking about with the projections of the exit polls that has also impacted the market already as a pre-open trade that we are witnessing?
Yes, I think it's a mandate what the government is getting to continue with the government in the next 5 years. That would be the major trigger for the markets to open on a 780 points in the opening session. Add to that, even global markets are supporting even the data like GDP and the early monsoon. These other factors also contribute a lot in the right time and the right day.
Siddharth, would you also like to take a question from Prashant?
Prashant, at this point of time, the point about Atmanirbhar market and Atmanirbhar investors and the manner in which FIIs had short positions, what do you expect foreign investors to do today and beyond today, including the results day tomorrow?
I think FIIs have learned a lot in the history. Whenever they go short of more than 2 lakh, 3 lakh for the market always surprises them by 1,000 points momentum in the upside levels. So they should learn the lessons from the Indian market, and then even the domestic market investors like the retail investors who are investing 20,000 crores every month. These are getting hard and higher going forward. So that is giving them a good lesson for FIIs. They are going to cover up their short, and they are going to long India very soon.
At a time like this, we should always also be measured and cautious. What would you advise newer investors of how they should approach trade today and through this week?
I am starting to advise my investors, my traders to book at least some profits in the higher levels today, because tomorrow is again crucial. There may be 20 plus or minus in terms of mandate, what the exit mandate has given, 350, 370. There may be some plus or minus 20 levels, and markets will be very volatile tomorrow on the real results day. So I am advising my clients to go and book some profits at a higher level.
Prashant, I also have a question here, because with the BJP stating, already expressing confidence of the next 100 days, of which they appear to be preparing a vision document, do you think that also has an impact on the market?
Yes, obviously, yes. The next 100-day plan, what Modi ji has already given into market, they will be going very hard in terms of infrastructure, lot of reforms, lot of changes.
So trade has opened, Prashant, just a moment. Trading has opened. Sensex up 2,017 points. The Nifty up 614. So a bit of the interest that we saw. Obviously, the point about booking profits perhaps also at play, but trade has opened. The markets are live at this point of time. The Sensex and the Nifty. Prashant, continue with the point that you were making.
So the 100 points what Modi ji has given India for next 5 years, that will be major foundation period for the market, wherein I think infrastructure will be the 100 days.
Prashant, what's your sense in the broader term, medium term, as far as a stable and sensible portfolio construction approach is concerned. We don't advise people as far as individual stock picks are concerned, but which sectors do you think will be in play as a consequence of this kind of expectation as far as the politics is concerned?
The sector may not change from last 5 years, definitely the railways, infrastructures, but yes, not at these. One should wait and have a cautious approach. There will be a lot of opportunities in the Indian market. We are not straight line towards 24,000 or 25,000 Nifty. There will be some kind of repeat because of the global event. That will give us a lot of opportunities to again get into the same sectors like infrastructure, railway and defense.
Prashant, just one more point, and Pooja, then
yes,
we can perhaps take a broader point. As far as the fear of missing out is concerned, a lot of retail investors sometimes look at rising stocks and they feel that they are missing out and then burn their hands. Is FOMO a factor that retail investors should keep in mind today?
I think no, FOMO should not be a factor to be considered because last 7-8 days market volatile. They were really happy with the volatility, but yes, today was the only day, and tomorrow maybe the second only day. The FOMO factor come into the investor's mind. But there will be a lot of opportunities. Same stocks will be available, lower levels, better valuation. So wait and watch and get into right stock at the right time.
Prashant, also tell us how the market volatility has been throughout the election season. What have you observed, and how do you think that's different in the manner in which market has opened now?
So historically, if you see every year elections, high volatility in the market, but yes, this was very much crucial because the government is continuing for the third term, which is some kind of history in the market. But yes, the return of the investors were higher in terms of face-to-face elections. And I think after phase 5 elections, the markets got confident with respect to 65-66% of the turnout, which was a comfortable level for Indian market as well as the government to continue. So I think the election had a very serious issue with respect to Indian VIX rising double from 10 points to almost 22-24 points. So I think that was a very crucial level. But I think next 2 days we will continue to have a higher VIX. But again, post that we will be normalized.
Pooja, I think one of the key points that we also need to keep in mind is that while there is an initial sense of euphoria in the markets and some people might choose to book their profits and then get back into the markets, what are the broader Modi 3.0 policy expectations? What is the Modi government likely to do? Because fundamentals matter at the end of the day. You can't just be up in the air. Infrastructure spending.
Correct.
We already saw the interim budget outline its priorities. Market experts and other participants feel that infrastructure spending will double over the medium to long term, which is 3 to 5 years. Discretionary spending, which is the money that is available with people to spend and consume, is obviously also going to go up. Per capita income is expected to rise as far as this country is concerned. And corporate earnings also in the range of 12 to 14%, although the most recent quarter has shown that there is some pressure on that account. So if we were to then try and come back into the sectors that are likely to see sustained interest for investors, defense, you know how the defense play has been, the Modi government's efforts at indigenization, and we have seen our domestic defense companies, many of them of great interest to investors. They are doing well.
And so many deals that have come to fruition when it comes to defense sector.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, no one's saying that 100% indigenization is going to happen, including for high-end complex weapon platforms. We still are reliant on technology, and there are, technology transfer issues that are concerned. So, 10 years, a lot of painstaking progress. It could have been faster, but defense production, one key area. Look at the banking space, particularly the public sector banks. 2014 onwards, we saw for a few years the kind of pain that our public sector banks went through on account of the non-performing asset problem. Now, that is behind us. The most recent quarter has seen phenomenal performance from public sector banks. Banking space, perhaps that I have not seen in my reporting career. Look at some of the stocks that are part of the